I grew up stranger danger and also had some very tragic things that happened as a young adult that left me feeling vulnerable and unsafe. So when ride sharing became a huge phenomenon, it was not something I was eager to take part in. And then after I started to do more discovery, I found out that there were other women who felt like I did and wanted to have options to choose how we experience riding with others.
Welcome to the brndBrief podcast, where we discuss the latest trends and key strategies that are driving brand growth. This podcast is powered by Brand Method Media Group, and I'm your host, Kelly Kelly. Today's guest is Kimberly Evans, founder and CEO of Just Her Rideshare, a women-centric rideshare and community mobility company prioritizing women's safety, comfort, and empowerment. This is also a platform that connects female drivers and riders 100% of the time for comfortable, secure rides. Welcome to the show, Kimberly.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here with you today.
Amazing. Well, I would love to start the show by going back a bit and what inspired you to start Just Her Rideshare, and what unique challenges have you faced as a female founder in this space?
Well, first of all, I am a fourth generation entrepreneur. I am a business owner of over 3 decades, so it's not my first rodeo. But I didn't dream it at 12, and I didn't wake up one day a few years ago and say, I'm going to start a rideshare for women. I was actually introduced to this space as a business opportunity, and I knew right away that I had found this space where I was supposed to be because it resonated with me. I was my own customer. I had never taken a rideshare. I grew up stranger danger and also had some very tragic things that happened as a young adult that left me feeling vulnerable and unsafe. So when ride sharing became a huge phenomenon, it was not something I was eager to take part in. And then after I started to do more discovery, I found out that there were other women who felt like I did and wanted to have options to choose how we experience riding with others. So it's been a long journey to get here and to build, and we may talk a little bit more about that later, but and also about the many challenges. I mean, pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee, because I've got some stories to tell. But it's been a lot of challenges to get here, and I'm sure we'll dive a little deeper.
Yeah, you shared the inspiration behind it, and you shared that I was the customer. I was what I envisioned. And I also grew up stranger danger. I'm an 80s baby, raised by a single mom who was drilling me on key safety tips from a very, very young age. So watching, having a love for tech and innovation, there's still that caution when it comes to safety being just assumed or not really highlighted as a priority. So I can definitely understand that point of it. And I'm eager to dive into the unique challenges. So let's start with that. Maybe what has been the most unique challenge growing your business in this space?
So for me, I used to say that all roads lead to funding. I business owner for over 3 decades, but I was always fortunate enough to bootstrap my own businesses with my husband. He's an engineer by career. He had an engineer consulting company. We had a trucking company, but we funded them. They were very small businesses. And again, this was not my first business. I've been in fashion. I've been in software sales. I spent 21 years at the U.S. Postal Service. I built my own call center around quality assurance and client support. So I had a lot of experience building, but I'd never raised capital, and I barely knew what a cap table was when I started. And then I didn't know that there could be people like me that could go to other people, in particular, other communities, and get them to write me $1 million check. That really intimidated me. But as I started on the journey to bootstrapping the company, and we got to a point to where we knew that we needed to raise capital to continue growing and scaling the company, it literally has been the hardest thing of my business career. So, but all roads don't always lead to funding. I found that there were some things that we could do to move the company forward. We think we need money, but many times we don't always need money. We just need good resources and people who will step in and help you. And so we have hit spaces where we focus on things that we can do without money. And we do that every day. We come to work and we focus on those things. And then we know that there are things that we have to compartmentalize that we know we need funding for. And then we have to deal with those things. But I will say the biggest challenge has been fundraising, in my opinion. The other biggest challenge has been a team, acquiring great talent, because you have to pay people for their value and their worth. Not everybody understands startup. And so when you get the kind of people that we have on our team, sometimes I'm amazed that they said yes to me because these are people who operate on a high level. It's a blessing because it is very hard to acquire the right talent, someone who understands your mission and your vision, to help you get to the next level. So those have been a couple of the challenges: fundraising and talent acquisition.
Do you think your authenticity as a leader and ability, and then also the mission, I would guess, contributes to your team wanting to be a part of that? Would you say that that's pretty accurate?
I believe so, in a sense, because I'm a very probably unusual leader. I always say I lead pretty well, but I also follow and I give my team the ability to shine. I'm good at some things, but I'm not good at everything. And I take pleasure in finding what other people are good at. And I think for me, it probably opens up a door of vulnerability that people see in me that maybe you're not supposed to have as a CEO. Like, you're supposed to be strong and tough and I'm a boss this and I'm a boss. But no, I'm very humble because I'm honored when you get people who know more than you in certain areas and who are willing to share. You have to be vulnerable to open yourself up. So I think because I've laid sort of that foundation for my team, I hope that they're able to see that when they come in, I'm not a know-it-all. I'm not going to know everything, and I'm going to give them an opportunity to shine. So maybe perhaps you might have to ask them, but I think that might have something to do with it.
I think we probably have that in common in terms of how we choose to lead. I feel like I lead that way, and I have been given feedback that I do lead that way, just being open. And I've had previous employees or people I've worked with say that's unusual in terms of being so open and vulnerable to feedback as well as expertise in other areas. But I, same as you, have also found that I am usually aligned with winners. When I put out that I'm hiring, I am getting top talent. Sometimes you have to weed through some other things, but I have had the pleasure of having some incredible people work with me, and I'm forever grateful for that. And even if they move on and I'm their biggest champion, that's amazing. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah. One other thing I'd love to say about that is I think it's so important to be vulnerable because someone told me once, when we have people that are working in our company and they don't operate on the same level that we operate or at the same speed, sometimes, we may throw out words like, someone is not as aggressive or lazy or, all of those negative stigmas. But I learned something that was very key, and it took vulnerability for me as a leader to recognize this when I show up and I'm building teams, that a lot of times it is your job to find your strengths and weaknesses in your team. A lot of times we put people in positions that they're not supposed to be in. But if you don't open up and allow them to be themselves and help them to find spaces where they can perform better, instead of just saying, oh, you're no longer with the company, you don't perform at the level that I want you to, find where they are good, find where they are strong. And then sometimes you have to change systems and not people. If you change a system, then you will get to see, who's really good at what. And then after you've done that, then you can then you can have accountability. You can say, well, you know what? We moved you from here to there. We thought you'd do well here. We see that this is this is just kind of your thing. And then you have the opportunity to sort of move on from that person. But I think before you put people out, sometimes you might have to ship a little bit of the system before you do the person.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So, what would you say has been the most rewarding thing about building a rideshare company focused on women's safety and empowerment? Because that, from what I understand and from my knowledge of rideshare companies, that has not specifically been put to the forefront. What has been the most rewarding aspect of that?
For me, it's been community. I have a servant's heart. It's who I am. I feel like it's the most organic part of who I am at this season in my life. I have not always been here. I've been self centered. I've been focusing on my career, my family. But now, in the season in my life, I've had years of experience of what it's like to really serve others. And I love it. And so, building the company from day one, from the inception, it's always been about not just a ride share, but about a community of women taking care of each other. And I think the most rewarding thing for me is that the women have bought into what we are offering. They feel that they are part of a community. Our drivers feel like they are more than their vehicle to us. Our customers feel like we actually care about them. I'm obsessed with customer success to begin with, but we make our customers feel like they're a part of something more than just a ride to the airport. And so for me, that's been one of the most rewarding things. We started a community platform called Just Her Hub. It's on our website. We call them our hubbers. And it's a place where we connect and engage and support each other. We do not monetize it at this point. We are figuring out some ways to do that to offer some more value. But for the most part, it's an open forum. We love for people to come in. We will highlight you for a week. It's not 10,000 women, but it's a great group of women, maybe about a pipeline of 1,500. And we support each other. And that's what I love. So it is the community, or if you will, the social impact side to what has been the most rewarding for me. I always say, I'm not in it for a house, a car, or a boat. I am in it to impact my community and so that my sons can be proud that their mom did something great while she was here on earth.
I love that. That's very inspirational. How do you see the rideshare industry evolving in the next 5 years? And what role do you envision Just Her Rideshare playing in that evolution?
Oh, wow. What a great question. Well, the ride sharing industry has staying power. It is not going anywhere. It's expected to be valued at about 305 billion. Years ago, over a decade plus, we grew up, stranger danger in many cases, not hopping into strangers' cars. And then all of a sudden, we have this disruption of shared mobility space. Where I see it going and where I see Just Her playing a part is being a leader, a trailblazer in how we view safety in this industry for women and youth. We are not focused on, what some of the other industry leaders are focused on in terms of autonomy and all of these other things, even though we know that that will likely evolve at some day. Years ago, we said we'd never hop in a stranger's car, and now we're doing it. Most people say, well, I'm never getting in a driverless car, but there will be people that will do it.
Yeah,
And it's coming. But I believe that when it comes to how we view safety, how we view empowerment of women, I believe that Just Her will be leading the way because we will continue to focus on that. We will obviously build a company that is profitable for our shareholders. We will build a company that is sustainable in the industry, but we will never lose sight of our mission and our vision to take care of people. Because whether, our customers are our drivers, we don't have either one of them, we have no company. And so we want to make sure that we keep that reputation of not just being a ride share, but being a community. So I think we'll be leading the way. I'm convinced of it.
I'm excited to watch the progress. That's amazing. So, I want to talk now about the marketing strategies behind the brand, and maybe you can share what have been some of the more successful marketing strategies you guys have put behind Just Her Rideshare, and how have those marketing strategies helped to establish your brand presence?
Yes. Well, Kelly, because you are a marketing expert, you are probably not going to want to hear this, but I am not a social media marketing enthusiast. I usually work behind the scenes, kind of putting my hand to the plow. So we have bootstrapped the company thus far. Literally, we have spent less than $4,000 in marketing in the last 3.5 years.
Wow.
Not because we didn't need it or because we didn't want it, but because we were revenue sensitive. I mean, we're a bootstrap company. I mean, the climate of fundraising right now is brutal. And so we've been on the fundraising trail and it has not been easy. So we've had to do what we could do. So I've bartered, I've partnered, I've used interns. We've had to do it all to move the needle forward. I'm super, super grateful that I've been blessed with an amazing network of people who believe in what we're doing and they want to see me win. And so I've told them, listen, if you can't write me a check, then tell somebody. So share and have somebody share. And so we've been able to grow organically. We have shown up to women-centric events. We've had boots on the ground, grassroots. We go wherever the women are. We go over where the gig workers are. I often tell people that, when people compare us to the industry leaders, you can akin it to David and Goliath, but we found Goliath's weak spot, right? And so we just show up to the same playground and play a better game and offer a better service. So we've not had to spend as much on marketing. But I will tell you this, here of late, I was convinced by my team to do some social media stuff. And I will tell you that I am literally blown away that it is as powerful. I've always known it was powerful. I just didn't know because I'm not an enthusiast. But we recently just released just a few reels, a few marketing. We've always posted and done things, but we've really gotten engaged. And I got to tell you, I've seen it's like night and day. And so now I'm even on TikTok now, which I never
What?
thought that would happen. So we've used that. Now, here's the thing that I will tell you. I've always had marketing in my peripheral. I've always said that I know what we need at this point is to add fuel to this fire. But I wanted to bring somebody in who was very strategic because I'm a very strategic person around marketing. I need strategy and I need execution. I know what needs to be done. I don't know how to do it. It's not my wheelhouse. And so when I get people in to sort of talk to us about marketing, I tell them, give me an action plan. Don't just tell me what we can do. There are a gazillion things we could do, but give me a marketing plan and then tell me how to execute it. Tell me what you need for us to get it done. And so that's how I look at next level for us. Like we have literally done so many things that I got to tell you, marketing is the thing that I think is going to take us to the top. Now, I don't believe that it is in the traditional sense as we've known it over the last decade or so. I think with new tools and technology, we can do it very different. We can do it very cost effective, but it has to be done. And that has been the missing piece for us. And so that's what we're focused on now.
Yeah, no, I think you really just kind of nailed it. When you are startup, everything is scrappy. That's
Yeah.
totally understandable. I think the disconnect sometimes happens with other leaders is that there's never a point where they acknowledge, hey, at some point, this could be something we need to bring in a very structured and strategic way.
That was
But you're there now. The
yeah.
totality, I think other leaders have not seen that the totality of hosting behind that is a full strategy if you're working with skilled partners. So it's not just, hey, pay us to play and dance on TikTok. It is sitting down with the entire team, understanding the business objectives as a whole, realizing what role marketing plays to support that, and then what
Yes.
elements of social and digital are we going to do to support that. That's where I
Absolutely.
think you guys are, and you're like, okay, cool. Yes, I know there's a million things we can do, but how do we execute and what is the big plan here? So we're not just playing more reactive marketing, just posting
Yes.
haphazardly, and it gets more proactive.
Absolutely. And I agree with that. You said it so eloquently because I feel the same way about, and I was sharing this with my team about customer success because I believe that there's a huge element to marketing, obviously, in that. But for them, I told them, even though we're raising a pre-seed round of funding, I felt like that we had the power, we still had some power to work within. We had a database of over 5,000 plus customers. We've got a few thousand drivers. How do we focus on that? I need to know everything about my customer's persona. I need 7 messages around who one customer is. And also because we deal with our drivers somewhat in the same way because they're our partners. So there is a customer success and there's a driver success. Well, a lot of that has to do with marketing as well. And so if there is a plan to really understanding who the customer is, then there are messages around, okay, you took one ride today. What about customer ascension? How can I get you to take 2 rides next week? Or if I don't know who you are, understand who you are, or not communicating with you or marketing to you, I'm never going to know who my customer really is. And if you don't know your customer, you're not going to have a successful business if you're in the product and service business, you know.
Yeah, that messaging is key, and having different messages for a few personas maybe is strategic. I mean, you can't hit
Yes.
everything, but getting online and saying, "Hey, come take a ride," with no sort of messaging or like tailoring to the content would be crazy. But a lot of people do that. They're like, "Oh, just post about all of the products and services we offer." Okay, there's tone, there's context, there's all these things you can craft to get better in front and grab that attention. Because that's the other part, right? Like we're all on the
Yes.
same feed scrolling endlessly. How do you stop somebody, your target, from scrolling? So I mean, you nailed it.
Yes, I can already tell you're really good at this because I'm just listening to the way you're talking strategically, and I'm getting, I'm already getting happy about it because it's my language. Because I feel like that's surface level what we do, but there's a bigger picture behind it, and that's the strategic side. So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would love to close out by sharing what's next for Just Her Rideshare. Like what's coming up this year or 2025? What's on the horizon that you're excited about?
So I'm always very transparent with and very real about who we are, where we are, and what we're doing. I will tell you it's extremely tough right now. The fundraising climate has been probably as bad as it has been in a very long time. I'm not an anomaly. I hear this from my founder friends, who are in my orbit. We all are struggling with the same thing. So we're in survival mode. But we have so many amazing things, Kelly, that are happening. It's almost, unbelievable to see that you have all of this momentum and traction and wonderful things happening on one side, and then on the other side, it's hard to close funding. So we do anticipate on closing funding before the end of this year. We are in our forefront. We've looked at other cities to pilot. We have been in conversations with industry leaders about potential partnerships. So we're excited to see where those conversations go. We believe that with the support of larger transportation companies can help us to scale quicker, but I'm super excited. We are looking at Atlanta, Miami, and Washington for our next 3 cities. I'm excited to add more talent to our team. We have amazing people on our team, and I'm excited to see us grow there. And I guess, overall, I'm just excited to see where Just Her is going to be in 2025. Our plan is to keep working to get through the holidays, to build some really, really great momentum going into Q1 of 2025 so that we can get this company to the next level. So a lot of hard work though. We're not there yet.
Listen, I can attest that across the board, including my industry and some of my clients' industry, it is tough for everyone right now. So I think, to your point, the optimism, remaining optimistic is important. I mean, realistic, but also optimistic about what can be done, and just knowing that that's what you have control over, what you can do. But it's rough for most of us out here. So I applaud your optimism, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes up with Just Her Rideshare as well. I'm excited.
Thank you. And likewise with you. I mean, I am really impressed with all that you have going on as well. I wish you well in your endeavors. I hope that there is an opportunity, maybe perhaps there's synergy somewhere in the future. But I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really proud of what you're doing. I appreciate you spending time and sharing your space with me today.
Thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. The whole point behind this podcast was to highlight business owners, their mission, and, you know, introduce them to an audience that wants to know about the real behind it, the good, the
Yes,
not so good, key strategies, gems they can take away. That's really what I wanted for this. And I appreciate your contribution to this conversation. Thank you so much.
you're very welcome.
Well, that wraps today's show. Thank you to our incredible guest, Kimberly Evans, founder and CEO of Just Her Rideshare. We'll have contact information for Just Her Rideshare in the show notes for anyone interested in supporting the company. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. We'll see you next time. Thanks.